This photo reminds me just death and pain and tragedy, but also it gave me the chance to live one more time. I just don't know why I survived. I see those pictures, and people was gone around me. Tenía mi historia muy guardada en mi corazón por muchos, muchos años. Not even my own children knew details of my story because it was way too painful. It brought me shame because I broke the law and I crossed a border with no documents. But I was not a criminal. I was not a bad person. I was just fleeing for my life. We knew that something was coming in our country because we saw soldiers everywhere. We saw the military arresting people without any excuse. Entonces yo sabía que era muy peligroso para mí. In January of 1980, we were walking back from a meeting, and as soon as I got home, I heard many gunshots and screaming. So we hid, we went under the beds, and after everything was quiet, we went to see what was going on. And I found my friend who was also a coordinator for the youth group. His name was Rene. And I found him in the lap of his grandmother, dead. So they just shot him and left. So that increased my fear, and it was just no way that I was gonna stay behind and not being killed. A friend of mine said, well, if you have some way to get a little money, we can go. I can take you. I know the way to the norte. Maybe you'll be safe over there. It was 45 of us Salvadorians, women and children and families that met in the capital after we paid these guys half of the money, and they put us in a bus, and it was so many of us, and we became friends, after a 7 days journey. And in my group, it was 3 sisters. Oh my God, they were my sisters of the journey, and we connected, we had a good time, and there we go. We got in the bus and started going through rivers, to mountains, to buses, and changing bus stations, and we ended up in the Sonoran Desert. We were just not prepared. We just didn't have enough water. We didn't have the appropriate shoes, appropriate clothing. We were carrying our luggages of clothes. There's some women with high heels. There's some women with rollers and makeup because they wanted to look beautiful for their husbands. Because the smuggler told us that within an hour, we were to catch a plane. And that's how dumb we were. I mean, you're so ignorant about this. You don't know. And it was really easy because it was just a barbed wire. They didn't have this huge border wall that is now. So So we just crossed, and then we thought, oh my God, we're already in the United States, and we're safe, and we're gonna be safe, and we're in trouble. Where are we going? And a lot of us start saying we wanna go back. And then we would keep drinking and drinking and drinking water because it was so hot. It was almost 11 at night, and it was 110 degrees. The ground was hot. You couldn't lay down in there because it was so hot. So the first night of us walking, we lost our first woman. She died because she had a heart attack about 3 a.m. And we also just sit down around her and put her clothes on top of her, said a prayer, and left. I'm sure she was never recovered because it was far away where we were found. We keep walking and walking at night, rest for a little bit, keep walking, and the smuggler, the young one, got scared, and he said, I'm leaving because you're a bunch of idiots and you're stupid and you're yelling, you're making too many sounds. So he left. But he left his father with us. Mateo was his father's name. He didn't know where to go. The area is called the Devil's Highway because people says, es el camino del diablo. Nadie sale con vida. But we didn't know. The second night, we were in the afternoon, we were already drinking our own pee. I just couldn't walk anymore, and I keep telling my uncle, I just can't do it, I'm gonna die here, I just leave me under this tree, I can't do it anymore. My feet were already blistered, and I had cactus all over my body, and my face, and my hands, and my uncle tied his belt to my pants, and he says, I'm gonna drag you because I cannot leave you here. Parecíamos ya como muertos caminando, como al tercer día. Ya no éramos con una sonrisa y aquel spunk, ya no teníamos nada de eso. Teníamos solamente mucho miedo y sabíamos que íbamos a morir. Como al cuarto día, ya no caminábamos, los hombres se fueron a buscar ayuda y nos quedamos solo las mujeres. And it was just us girls under a tree with the Salvadorian smuggler who said, well, I'm gonna stay behind with the women because I'll take care of them. And I remember that night we were just screaming very loud and trying to get attention. So men started a fire, it didn't go anywhere. So it was all this confusion and all this fight for survival. Nomás queríamos sobrevivir. Era todo. And I remember here they're screaming and screaming, begging the men not to hurt them. And I know that he raped some of them. But I was under a tree, under a bush, and pretending like I was dead because I knew that he could have hurt me too. I just couldn't get up. But and then I don't remember. I think I just went to sleep. And I remember waking up to the arms of a border patrol that's screaming in my face not to go to sleep. And I keep asking for water. And he'll say, no, just don't go to sleep on me. Don't die on me. And then they flew us from that area where we were found to a hospital in Ajo, Arizona. And by that, when we were recovered, I didn't know who was dead or who was not. But we find out in the hospital that the 3 sisters, my friends, they were gone. All of them. And there was the 12, the 14, and the 16-year-old. So there's other women, and one that was pregnant. And she was gone too. A young man, they were so strong, they were gone. So it was 13 that survived, and I'm one of them. And 14 that died with the baby in the mama's belly. But yeah, it was hard. It's hard to remember. The sanctuary movement was already coming alive in Tucson, Arizona. But the thing is that nothing had happened, a tragedy of the dimension of that big, that got the world's attention. The sanctuary movement really got their, oh my God, they got their power on and said, we have to help these people. And I know that they did an incredible job. And then I became part of them within a year after I was helped from them. I started going in their meetings. I started saying, I'm here, I want to help. And I had never stopped. I'm now 63. I turned this horrible tragedy into something that brings life. But it's my healing. If I wouldn't be out there in the desert helping people and thinking when I go to bed at night, because today I was there and I give someone water, that person survived. I don't know how I will do without that. So that's what I know, that I will do this the rest of my life.